ESG stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance, which is especially appropriate for the times we're in. In this clip, Maria gives us a deeper dive into understanding the governance angle.
ESG stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance. It is a philosophy that has been more codified lately in the last few years through various standards boards and as we see coming up with the SEC proposed regulations. But it stands for Environmental, Social, and Governance, and it essentially governs how a company deals with a number of different issues for both its internal and external stakeholders. So, things like diversity and inclusion, things like corporate governance and the makeup of the board, executive compensation, and then of course environmental, which circles right around the whole climate change issue, which we are all realizing is something that's incredibly important to us as we move forward. And I think the fleet management industry, just because of the fact that it's in transportation, the whole climate discussion is a big part of not just a fleet management company position, but the companies that we work with, because the transportation sector is a big part of the carbon emissions and the greenhouse gas emissions that are affecting the earth right now. So our clients have things that they need to accomplish, and we are required to help our clients accomplish those things. There are some very aggressive goals for certain of our clients. I mean, some of them are hitting carbon neutrality by 2027, some by 2030, 2040, and I mean, we're seeing all kinds of things coming out from non-governmental organizations. You've got the climate group and the UN that's talking about the drastic increase in temperature and how we're running out of time to work and deal with the climate change issue. But everybody talks about the environmental side of things, but there are an additional two letters in ESG, and that's the social and the governance. I will talk a little bit more about the governance side at this particular point in time, but our corporate partners and even our governmental partners need vendors and suppliers that match their essentially their priorities. And those priorities, are changing, and they change, based on societal influences. They change based on cultural influences. They change based on time and stakeholder and shareholder interest. I mean, especially if you're a public corporation, we're seeing. I think the last statistic I saw was that 60% of investors are now very interested in a corporation's ESG policies and stance. I mean, they are, it's. Not necessarily to use the word activist investor, because it does have somewhat of a negative connotation, but you are seeing investors become more engaged with not just how much money am I going to get off of a return on this investment, but how does this investment make the planet and the world better?